Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Will coming at you with another video. I hope that each and every one of you is having a fantastic day, and thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd hope you go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button for some great BMW content. So, say you've got your BMW or you're thinking about getting one and you're wondering about maintenance and you're wondering how much is it going to cost you. Well, the short answer is if you take it to the dealer or even an independent shop, it's going to be a lot. Even if you take it to a regular shop, which I really don't recommend, that doesn't specialize in European cars, they're still going to charge a lot. A lot of them will charge a premium just because it's a European car. And this scares people a lot often into thinking that these cars are hard to work on because shops charge so much. Well, that is a complete and total myth. This car is just as easy as any other car to work on. In fact, it's easier than some V6s and V8s I've owned just because you don't have two separate heads. So, inline makes it just a little bit easier, and it's really not a difficult thing to work on if you have the proper tools. So that's what this video is about, is what tools do I need to work on my BMW? So let's go ahead and just talk about the basic tools that you're going to need. So first things first, pretty much you already know this one. You're going to need a regular Hex Ratchet. It's just, you're going to need it. Pretty much every single job you have to do, you're going to need to remove the air intake. And you're going to need, on this car, you're going to need lots of 8mm bits and 10mm bits because you're going to lose them. So you might as well just go ahead and get a couple. Anything that involves taking the cowl off, anything that involves the under panels of the car, 8mm. 8mm, you're going to need lots and lots of 8mm. Just go ahead and plan for that. Next up is Torx Bits. This car uses lots of Torx Bits. You're going to need them all, and you're probably going to want ones that attach on a ratchet as well as ones that can go on a screwdriver. It just uses lots and lots of them, and depending on the situation, one might be easier to access than the other. And these just look kind of like a little star. Instead of being like a Phillips head or a flat head on the end of a screw, it would be a little star bit. Some people actually call them star pieces, and they're used extensively on this car. To remove the intake snorkel, you'll need them. I'm trying to think now what you need them for. Pretty much any interior screw is a Torx bit. There's two T27s on the bottom of the intake manifold. They're all over the car. You're going to need Torx bits pretty much on 90% of the things on this car. The third you're going to need is external Torx. So this is basically an inverted Torx. Some people call them inverted Torxes, but they are called e-Torx for external Torx, and they just look like they are literally the inverted of them. I'll have a picture on the screen here so you can see what they look like. And all across this car, you are going to need them. Pretty much anything that bolts onto the head uses e-Torx, such as the oil filter housing, the valve cover gasket. The valve cover is held in by e-Torx. There are lots and lots of e-Torx on this car, and they're pretty much all E10s. The sway bar is held in by some e-Torx. Not the sway bar, the strut brace bar is held in by e-Torx. I think many jobs on this car are going to require e-Torx, but it is probably slightly less used than regular Torx, but I don't know, it's pretty close. And one more tool that I would recommend having is definitely a set of hex bolts. So as opposed to your regular 6-point hex ratchet, this is the inverse of that. And there's only one spot that I've actually come across where I've had to use this on the car, and that was to change the differential fluid. But it is a good thing to have. You never know, you might need it, and just a good thing to have. Also, I would probably recommend having an impact of some sort to, change the tires. It makes it a lot easier. You definitely don't need it. I've done it for a long time just using a tire iron and haven't had any issues with it really, except for when a shop over-torqued my wheels and I couldn't brake it myself, but I did find a shop to go ahead and brake it for me. Also, a few other things you might want to have is regular screwdrivers, some small ones. I use a very, very small flathead for a pick tool to undo clips like for sensors such as the mass airflow sensor in the car. I do have a set of pick tools. They're pretty handy to have, you know, whenever you need to pop something off, especially interior bits or something like that. When I did my door trim and put the M Sport door trim in, I used the pick tools for that. It just makes life a lot easier to have them. Anyway guys, so that is what I would recommend having. You're going to need every single one of those for pretty much every DIY on this car. So if you want to save some money, not take it to the shop, be prepared for when it does have a problem. You're going to have to change a gasket at some point, a sensor will fail at some point, and really there's no reason to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars on top of an already expensive part when it's really as simple as just having the right tools and maybe a little bit of patience. All these tools that I've just mentioned and have shown clips of throughout the video, I bought them at Harbor Freight. They're not expensive. Each set runs, you know, 15 to 20 bucks. You're looking at maybe spending 100 to maybe 150 bucks on tools, and then I highly recommend you DIYing everything you possibly can on your BMW because it's fun, it saves you a lot of money, and it's just a lot smarter way to go about it than to be paying a shop that isn't doing anything that you can't do from the beginning. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.